Hello everybody, so today this is a Timbermill Corvus Diamond Free PC VOD, and something that got mentioned was working on positioning. So it's a bit weird to talk about positioning on Timbermill because, well, one, it's a Corvus VOD and these VODs tend to be very straightforward because Corvus is a very I mean, he's just a boring character right now to me, but that's fine. But in Timbermill in particular, you have like your high ground, the enemy team's high ground, the side high grounds, and the point, and that's like really the only places that you ever really go as a support. So it's a bit weird talking about positioning. Same on the push, there's like the point, there's high ground number 1, there's high ground number 2. So for the build, you don't have grand design. You're a Corvus without grand design. Also, I realized I could like draw again. Yeah, that's cool. So I can point, I can make arrows. Look at this. You have speed right here. This thing right here. Oh my god, look at all this attention. This looks like a YouTube thumbnail. You need grand design. Point of Corvus is to like enable your DPS and stuff. You're probably not wrecking your Victor because like he doesn't get value out of your cards that much, but like you should have grand design. It's like better than speed. Like it helps your DPS better than speed. You're probably marking your Ashe this game because like I mean that tends to be the better option, tends to be more effective for off tanks, because your comp looks pretty aggressive, right, compared to theirs. So marking off tank is usually the way to go. You could mark your Nando and maybe like follow your Ashe would be a good option. But like your comps are very similar, except like I mean your comp is kind of just better. Like you have pretty even main tank matchup, pretty even pretty even tank matchups. Your supports are like, sure, Corvus is kind of just better. The Victor outranges the Cassie, which is super important on this map, so make sure that like that's kind of the strength of your comp is outranging the Cassie, so like make sure your Victor is nice and healed up. Vatu Andro is like pretty even as far as I know. Maybe the Vatu has a bit of an advantage, especially with ult, but like with a Corvus mark, he has a pretty decent advantage, so make sure that he's marked. Other than that, I mean, you're just marking people and living in general support stuff, so are you gonna go high ground? Maybe? Okay, going out the left door is faster for high ground. Right side is faster for going out right side, but so you have the Nando marked, which I mean sure is fine, but again I think like I just like helping the offlane more, especially in rank. It tends to be a bit more impactful. Okay. Careful, careful. Oh my gosh. Okay, that was... You could have died. I think Cassie beefed a shot. So... The first thing is that you didn't... Like, you were up here, you saw... Alright, well... Like, there's nothing over here. I see these 3 people. Hey, somebody's missing! So, just something to be careful of. The other thing, really, is that your micro positioning was a little bit weird. Like, playing up here near the boxes is fine, but then, like, you walked down, and, like, you crossed open space. Your positioning shouldn't be linear. Like, you should be going from spot to spot. So lingering in open space or staying there for longer than you have to leads to situations like this. I just TP back up. Team is winning the fight. Good job, Vatu. Our Corv is so good. Not much to talk about here. You should be leaving point. Okay. If the other team is gonna touch, that's like risky for you, right? Like this barrack's gonna put damage in. Like maybe you have to knife out. You're gonna have to knife out. Like maybe when you knife out, there's gonna be follow up or something, right? As soon as there's like a potential for them to touch, like your life is the most important life on your team as a support. It's like you get the fuck out. You get out. TPing over here is also very risky. I would have TP'd to the other high ground. I don't think this is very safe. The Andro might have cooldowns. The Cassie might be. The Cassie could easily have just pushed up this way and been right here and just killed you, right? So your initial high ground would be the way to go. I don't know what your Victor's doing down here either. Like, ideally, you're like not even on point that much, and you just you and Victor up here just kind of burning whatever touches, right? Maybe shoot the Dumbo who just slivered on the point. But it's fine, I guess. All right, play down here. You did a fine job of like fighting off the Andro. You did damage, you did healing, good stuff. But you're kind of lingering again. Like you were here. It looks like you're sort of trying to move into here, but like you lingered around like the open space, right? If you're gonna go, like, and your positioning is not linear. You move from position to position. So if you're gonna be inside cover, then use cover. But if you're not, then don't. And you're taking damage because you're not really in cover. I don't know how your team is losing this. Again, I'm not sure what you're doing out in the open here, but pop ult, yep, all on point, good stuff. Cool. He missed a shot. Honestly, that's fine. Even if he had killed you, it's not the end of the world, just kind of unlucky. Because you won the mid, and that's all you care about. Curt duty is fun. Does anything happen? Okay. Oh, he evaporated. So it's sort of the same idea as before, where like you don't care about objective like more than you care about winning the fight. So like if you notice your Victor's like getting absolutely like ran at, or he's going to get ran at, or something is gonna happen that's gonna like decide the fight, just get off point. Like you can worry about that later after they're all dead. Yeah, and you kind of go in open space again. Nice camera POV. Okay. For a knife. If like he looks at you like you don't have knife up, and just like blasts 3 shots into you, I think you take 2 of them and then teleport, if I remember right. So you'll be like 1 HP, and you should die. I think he just misses and then gives up by look of his ult charge. So that's great news for you. And then Andalot comes out, so you probably live anyways, but there's a world where you die there because you didn't knife out in time. I like this angle. Okay, just like small thing, right? But like you were just kind of like heal botting from here. If you're here, you can like shoot the Makoa at least a little bit. That's unlucky. Like your team is staggering right now, right? The only thing you can do really is not stagger yourself. So what you're doing is fine. I'd probably be more from Victor, yeah. Let's talk about corvus also. So I think, yeah, great. You did hit 2 people with his ult. The Angel's trying to reversal it, which is great, right? But your ult is like this area. And what the other team is going to do is they're going to back up. They're going to leave this area. That's kind of what your ult does, right? It makes people leave an area. That's really like fundamentally pretty good. So like, let's actually like watch what happens, right? They just leave. Makoa's actually going to die. Okay, cool. I wouldn't rely on that, especially because the Vatu should not have gotten away with that, really. Like the Andro dropping kind of got the Makoa killed. There are sort of like, there's a few uses for your ult, right? So there's point, writing, there's point, there's clearing high grounds. That's how you spell it, right? Clearing high grounds. That doesn't look very good. Hold up. Clearing. I forgot how to write the word clearing. Clearing high grounds. And there's follow-up. Or like retreats. So ignore my writing. I'm writing fast and with a mouse. Okay, you can read. I hope. In order of strength, I'd probably go 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's also like just living. All right, so like DR. That's not how that letter works. DR. This is like probably the 4th strongest because it's not actually that good. It's not. When you're using corvus ult to try and live, like something's wrong. So follow up is the best option because what you did here, you did alt number 3. You cleared a high ground. The issue is that wasn't really a high ground. You didn't clear an area that they necessarily like cared about that much. If they could have just left, they could leave and they'd suffer no consequences. This ult is great when you clear an important high ground. It's like the other team wants to be here. I'm going to say, no, you can't. And then the fight's going to happen and they don't have access to this really important part of the map. And this is really good if you know how to use it well. But there's better ways of doing it. And again, DR is just like, oh fuck, panic button, please help me team. It's fine. It works sometimes. It's a good option. It's kind of niche. The point is good simply because of how confirmable it usually is. When you're in a situation where the other team has to touch point, and you ult point, it ends up usually getting a kill on the main tank, so it just doesn't happen that often. This is the one that I think is the most underrated of Corvus. I think it's probably his best ult. It might be better to call it like ulting rotations, right? You ult the enemy team's rotations. And this is like what I look for, right? You use one of these 3 if you see a chance to, or if you have to, but this is the one that like this is your default. So because at some point in the game your team is going to push something, right? Your team is going to push something with Corvus. Corvus tends to be played in very aggressive teams. If you play Corvus in a very passive team, you can use it to counter rotations. The other team pushes you ult their rotation. It's like really hard for them to push into you then. But this is basically the idea that like, okay, so let's say we have, let's say we have our Ashe and our Vatu, and they're going to push the Makoa and the Andro. They're going to decide to do that. And because Ashe and Vatu is pretty scary, they're going to use all their cooldowns. The Makoa and the Andro are probably going to back up, right? So then what happens then, like your Ashe and Vatu, you either have to decide if they're going to hold space or if they're going to like keep pushing. But what you can do as a Corvus is you can ult right here. And then, well, I mean, this really sucks for the Makoa and the Andro, right? Because they have the choice of either, okay, well, we're going to try to fight these people head on as they push into us, and you're probably behind and you're helping in too, right? Or they can back up through the entirety of your ult. And that really sucks for them because your ult does like a lot of damage and it slows and it's really awkward. And it's usually best when you don't do this on like tanks, but like imagine if you do this on a Cassie or a Domba or something with no mobility. Oh my god. Like, this is so strong if you can pull it off right. So using your ult to clear a high ground that doesn't really matter, like sure you got a kill off it, but I wouldn't say that's consistent. It kind of throws away your chance to do this, right? So let's look for chances like you could have maybe. Let's see where your team pushes next. Your Vatu kind of pops off. Good job, Vatu. Okay, so let's see what your team pushes next fight. I don't really know why you're standing still. Okay, if you're gonna commit to that, commit to helping your Victor. If you're a Corvus, you can, you can, like, you can be over here and have 2 marks, and like still have an impact in everywhere, which is like really cool and pretty broken. So like, if you're gonna help, like, do that, fully commit to it. So your team, that's Vatu dash or Andro dashes, and your team's kind of pushing high ground. So like, let's say we put an ult. That's not yellow. You put an ult here. This covers. I can't draw circles. Like it covers like this area. Right. So let's see what might happen. The Ashe pushes in. Everyone's getting ulted. The Vatu's here. These people are low HP. And do you see how like now you've probably knifed up too? So like maybe you're like up here. These people are dead. These people are absolutely fucked if you do this, right? Which you do, okay, so you do kind of help out. But like imagine this, but with an alt. They just, bam, they're gone. This isn't even a close fight, right? But you do end up making a good play, so that's good. And that's kind of like what I mean by, here, let's wait for gun noises to be done. So that's kind of like what I mean by like supporting, right? It's like you made a good fundamental play, like you saw your team was pushing something, and like you helped, but like your alts generally as supports just kind of like your abilities, they enable, right? They turn what your team is doing up to 11. So your team is pushing, they're pushing harder, or they're pushing better, or whatever, right? So like you made a good play there, but like it could have been, like I think you get the concept, right? It's just now use your alt to make that play better.
Alright, they're getting hot,
Your team does kind of fall over though, that's unlucky. That was a really good Makoa ult somehow. I would stay, fight this Makoa. Makoa sucks in your corvus. You can headshot this man like 27 times in a row. That's honestly a matchup I would take. If for nothing else than just for damage stats and ult charge. But saving the KD is also acceptable. Chronos Tree, cool.
Capture point spawns in 15 seconds.
So again, going out left door is pretty good.
5,
It's faster.
4,
So your Victor got there before you.
2,
Ow.
Your work is not done.
Oh, you're gonna get caught out again. So again, there are 3 lanes. There are 3 lanes. Your team just went through like that. There's nobody over here. You can see backline. You can see Barrack. So like nobody's in mid. I wonder where the Makoa and the Andro are. You know? There's sort of like, there's a few options. Like if you ever see, like, oh god, what's a map? I think there's, I'll link it below. There's a VOD of me on Corvus on Brightmarsh, and I go for dismounts. If you know like that corridor on Brightmarsh, it's called apps, and I go for dismounts from apps into mid, and I see nobody. And the first words out of my mouth are, "Oh fuck, where are they?" And I instantly turn around and teleport out. And then like 2 seconds after, like 5 people show up immediately where I was. So not seeing people should set off alarms very quickly, because you're just fucked here. I don't think you're gonna have time to get knife off because Makoa's just gonna hook you, right? Yoink. So there's 2 things you can do about this one. One is you can say, "Oh wait, they're coming for me. I know where they are because I know where they're not." Then you can like leave preemptively. The other thing you can do is you can go here, and you can get dismounts at the store. That's the other option you can do on this map. Teleported in, okay. That sucks. That sucks. Damn, he's really one, isn't he? I think if your Nando, okay, I honestly think if your Nando doesn't just like watch him triple dash into you with shield up and then realize, oh fuck, I need to be helping, you probably live. You also probably live if you don't knife over, like if you just mount below, and then at the end, if the Andy does dash for you, then you can like, you can throw knife first, then you can ult, and all this does, it just like buys more time for your team to help you. But you had like the right idea. You also have nimble for some reason. Maybe you live with Haven, maybe not, probably not, but like there's no reason you'd want nimble this game. Like what does it do for you? Like nimble is for rotations, keeping up and getting away from stuff, right? There are 0 rotations in this map that you really need to make with nimble. Everything's gonna be done with your knife. The only thing you're gonna get away from is like Makoa ult, maybe, but like you're not gonna get behind any walls or anything because it's Timbermill. And you don't need to be keeping up with your team. It's an Ashe and a Vatu. They're very fast. And again, Corvus just like, you don't need nimble. You have your knife. This is your nimble, right? Whatever nimble does, your knife does. And like you just there's no reason for it. You hear footsteps. Okay, that's sort of unlucky. You had like the right idea of trying to help your Victor. I just think, I mean, you didn't hear the Andra. And he just kind of dropped into him and they said, "Hey, killed me." And then he was like, "Oh yeah, sure, I'll take that." So either like you stay up or you knife into the teleporter. You free your knife here. Your knife ends here, and you just walk to the right and you're in the teleporter. God, I love corvus knife interactions. Or there's an area on this, I think it was like right here. If you hug the wall and you look straight up and you teleport, or you try to teleport on the high ground, you fall through the map. I think that's been patched, but that's definitely a thing that happened at some point.
Hold, brothers. Escort our fair lady whilst I frag.
Alright. So generally your team's going to want to control high ground number 1 over there. So you're going to want to help with that. That's just kind of how the defense works. You defend high ground number 1, then you defend high ground number 2. So I definitely try to help with that fight a bit more, maybe. Your Victor's fine. Like, I get play with your DPS, right? But like, your team's being aggressive, your team is making a play, you try to help that, right? Remember when like you pushed high ground on the push there? That was good. You contributed to that fight. But here you didn't really contribute that much. Should your team have like fallen over like that? No, probably not. But they did. I mean, the other team actually used 4 ults, so I guess it's not the end of the world. Also marking your Ashe instead of Nando. I've kind of been assuming that you've been doing. Hey, cool. So you. Okay, normally I say clearing high ground, but it clears anywhere really. These people leave. Cool. What does that do for you though? What does that mean? What does that? How does that help you win the fight? Is this area that important? Right here? Is this area of the map that important to the point where you commit an ult to get the other team out of it? No, it's not. But like, hey, look at this dude. This dude's about to push something. You can see it in his eyes. So like, if this ult is over here, you know, Barrack has to dash through it to get out, and that sucks. That probably means that he dies, as well as if you have a mark on your BoMbOZo, which you 100% should at this point. How much HP is that? That's not much, is it? 600? Your ult does that much damage. This Barrack is dead if you use your ult better. This fight's basically won if you use your ult better. This Cassie's also probably dead because your Ashe just dashed in and is currently the Barrack is peeling for the Cassie for the Ashe for her Cassie for his Cassie. Words are hard. So this Cassie is also probably dead if you use your ult better. Where oh, I'm not tabbed in. But no, instead your Ashe fed. And the fight's still going on. They're both alive. Your positioning makes me anxious because I'm just picturing like the Andro just coming out and triple dashing at you. Oh, and the cast is there to follow up too. Oh my gosh. So this is like the same thing as before. Yeah, this is where it should be. It's like you didn't really know where they were. You saw what you see? You saw Cassie over here, you saw Dombo over here, everyone else was like in this room. Lane 1, lane 2. It's probably not. Oh. Lane 2. So it's like, okay. Well, there's one person here, there's one person here. Everyone's alive, there's gotta be 3 people over here somewhere. And if there's 3 people over here somewhere, and you are right here, they can trade for you there. If the other team gets a chance to trade for you, they will take it because that's basically always a good trade for them, right? So you have to never give them that opportunity. Maybe not never. That never is a bad word in Paladins, but almost never, to the point where like the exceptions are so small that you could basically say never and pretty much be right. Don't overextend here, but high ground number 1, please. At the very least, start backing up because your team's gonna back up. They always do. They push past the choke, then they back up to the choke. So if you play at the choke, they just back up to you. Like if you're on high ground number 2 right now. It's like what your team was super far away, but if you're just back here, then they've come back to your LOS. And if you want to be where you are right now, you can drop. But starting where you are right now means that like you could have been caught out or some. I don't know. It's like it's riskier, right? Because you're not necessarily at a choke.
10, 9, 8, enemy dub, look out! 7, 6, 5, 4,
Cool
3,
life. Where'd he go? Nice ghost heal.
1.
Nice ghost heal again. Cool. That's a very support stat line. I want to see you get some kills. I want to see you start being aggressive enough to get kills. I think you need to start doing more damage. Like your damage is like, oh my god, dude, I could fall asleep during this VOD. Like, great, good job, yeah, big healing numbers, but like, holy hell, do something. Do something.
Capture point spawns in 15 seconds.
You bought more nimble, same thing. I just get Haven veteran, honestly. Like nimble's cool.
5, 4, 3,
Nimble's cool, but like Haven and veteran are better. Okay, so let's see what your team's gonna push this mid. Let's see what where you want to throw your ult. Team's pushing the right side. Cool. There's a barrack on point. You could ult that, but like you don't really care about that right now. Your team's pushing over here, right? So like, what if you? I maybe don't knife over. That's pretty risky, but you know, you have 2 options. You can ult like. It's a bit weird ulting an Andy because he's up in the air. You can ult like here. And say like, all right, Makoa, it's gonna be really awkward for you now, or you can ult up here because this is a very important high ground. This is that sort of clearing high ground ult, right? The Cassie and the Domba are currently very involved in this fight. They're participating. They're doing a lot. If you ult them, well, they can't really do anything anymore. They have to leave because otherwise, like, you're just gonna kill them with your ult. So, you again. Also, I really think marking the Ashe would be good here.
Alright, they're getting hot, they're getting hot.
Instead, you're kind of just like, just messing around. I'm gonna ult point again. Cool, this mate. It might get a kill in the barrack. I don't know if he has dash on. If he has dash, he probably just goes, whoop. And he's fine, but he doesn't have dash. Cool. I don't know if he tracked dashes or not. If he did track dashes, that's pretty cool. But again, like, winning the fight is more important than cap time. So I'd try to prioritize that. Okay, you are moving around a lot, and that sounds like a weird thing to say probably, but generally, like, when someone is moving around a lot, they're not necessarily sure of what they're trying to do, where they need to be LOSing. Like, you need to be LOSing Cassie, right? So like, there's no reason for you to be like dipping in and out of her LOS. Again, your positioning is very non-linear, I guess. It's very from. There's probably a better word to like say it's very from point A to point B to point C sort of thing. It's very jumpy, maybe. I like that you're getting involved in this fight. That's good. Bit late, but you know, it works out. Yeah, I don't know if I would have stayed after you got to dip, but so this is why I dislike corvus VODs, because you're not doing anything, but you're giving your team a huge advantage. So, I mean, you would be giving your team a huge advantage if you had grand designing and were marking your Ashe, but you know, it's still you're doing more than the Domba by doing this, which is like, eh. I don't know if you know what happened to the Andro. I assume you did, but kind of like based on where you're looking, it's like, do you know that both your DPS just dropped on him? Or? Cool, you walk forward and your team walk forward. Good job.
Alright, they're getting hot, they're getting hot. Get after it. Defend the payload.
The power of the pyre.
So, if the Barrack had no shield, and you knew he had no shield, and you knew the Victor was there to follow up, this might be a decent ult, because then it's like just a kill, but he gets out. So again, let's see, where could we have saved this ult for where your team pushes? Or what high ground could we have cleared? That's honestly on your Victor. I would go help with that though. Like winning the fight more important than pushing the cart. And your Vatu was still taking that fight. Even if you notice, especially if you notice that your Victor is taking the fight earlier and you can keep your Victor alive, and then both of you are alive, the Vatu comes to peel, and that's great. Your Ashe looks like she wants to push something. They're kind of pushing this Makoa. Hey, that's Andro dashes. That's his mobility. So if you had your ult, you think, oh fuck, there's a fight going on up here. Both these people have marks, which is great. But then like if you ult like this, that's not yellow. You know, like back here, make it really awkward for them to drop off. Make it really awkward for them to like stay on top. They're dead. You do teleport up top, which is great. Your Vought is a bit late, which is unlucky, and your Ashe is not ulting for some reason. But, my god, look how low the Andro is. Look how low the Makoa is. You can do that much damage with your ult. Or even here, dude. Like, look how grouped up they are. Look at the angles. You have this angle, you have that angle, you have the angle from mid. Like, if you just ult where these people are, you ult on top of them basically, or you ult where you think they're gonna retreat to. That's so good. That's free kills.
Alright, they're getting hot,
But instead your Vatu dies. So it's like you have the right idea of like you want to help your team push stuff. It's just like, one, you should probably be getting more involved, and two, I want to see you start using your ult to do it.
Alright, they're getting hot,
Like even right now, dude, like you're not pushing Kurt. The barracks on it. You're not gonna force out a barrack, right? Like knife up top, pop ult, do something. Like you can ult here and try to win the game. Yeah, this is fine. If you see your Victor do this, it might be a bit more value to just mark him and then follow your Nando, because then like you're not gonna put much damage in here. But like if you're with your Nando, you're closer to things. You individually do more damage. It's like the right idea, right? But like there's a lot of ways you can enable people, and you can just throw a mark on them. Is one of the ways. That ult is fine. I'm never gonna be mad at spending ults to try and win the game. Ow. I mean, the way you avoid that is just by not being there, honestly. High ground number 1, then high ground number 2. How you play Timbermill. Look at where your Ashe is. Look at how being up here would be the absolute freest thing. You're in range to heal everyone. You're in range to shoot everyone. It's a pretty good fall off.
9, 7,
You said you were kind of in mid. And I get that. It's antsy. You can win the game. You get, yeah.
3, 2, 1.
I like how you insta buy resil.
Alright, overtime, now or never, boys.
It shouldn't have a chance at this, right? They have high ground. They have people alive. You are staring at people a little bit before they start to do things, but... Ooh, don't jump before you knife. That's mid-air inaccuracy. I would push the Andro if you know he's that low HP. Like, you guys are losing this fight. You're trying to push. Like, this is the time to make aggressive plays like that. So... It's not necessarily like a good play. It's just aggressive, and it's kind of like what you need. But be very careful. This was something I had a lot of trouble with. Was like be very careful deciding the point where you're like, okay, I need to make something happen individually this fight. Because like I used to make that call way too early. I just end up feeding. So I think that was a point where it's like, yeah, you need to do something. By master riding. Who else had master riding? Oh, okay. Wait, why don't you have more then? Okay, I should have checked this.
2, 1.
I really like master rating on supports that can get dismounts consistently. I think it's like massive value, because if you like get master rating free, right? That's how much credits is that? That's 1,500. We're gonna do math in a VOD review. 1,500 credits. And you buy master rating free. All right. So how much have they spent? They've spent 15. Oh, yeah, 1500. They've spent, how much is that? That's 750. 1500. 250. So your team's 1500 again. 15. Okay, your team just has more flat out. That's pretty cool. 750. 750. Okay, cool. So the cool thing about this is that this is all pretty even, right? Like this kind of like, I mean, it's pretty even. Here, let's line up the roles actually. Let's make it a bit more interesting. Main tank to main tank. There's a point to this, I promise. So now that this is completely unintelligible and you have no idea what's going on, the point that I was going to make is that if you get main tank, you get dismounts, all this goes away for the cost of 1500 credits. And then all this, instead of sort of being even, you get rid of all this stuff in the middle, and you're just left with free master riding. If you get master riding that matches the other team, and you get dismounts. So it's free map control, and it's very cheap because it's only one person on your team that needs to get it. So like here, if you have a lot of master riding, and your master Nando has master riding for you, right? Yeah. So you're like here, and you pop up, and you dismount that Andrew and McCoy right now. Their master riding that they've spent a collective, how much is that? 2250 credits on. Zero value. Zero value. And your Ash and your Vatu are getting full value out of their 1500 credits that they've spent in their master riding. Alright? And you dismount, that's the Barrack coming up top, so if he gets no value out of his, I think it's the Barrack. Oh, that's the Damba. Okay, well. And then, like, instead of meeting, right? Instead of drawing the battle line here, which first of all, they went below, they should have gone up top. It's a bit faster. I think. I mean, then they run the risk of getting dismounted, I guess, so fine. But instead of the line being drawn here, you draw the line like here. And so if the line is here, then you get, your team, blue team, you get all this space. That's not, shut up. Okay. Epic Pen is annoying sometimes. The button needs to be bigger. You get all this space. And they get, like, no space. And like, how, like, if you have this space to work with, like, where do they play? Like, on the stairs? They can't really do that. They can't play down here. Like, what do they do? Right? They're fucked. They're screwed. So this is definitely a play that you should look to make because it is very, very good and is very, very cheap and cost effective. But instead, you have nimble. This goes to. This is risky. Does he have hook? Oh, you're lucky. Yeah, I wouldn't have necessarily done that. If you're gonna do that sort of rotation, you need to make sure that it's safe. It was not safe. This is safe. All your Victor, you picked up. I don't know why you're acting so scared of this Andrew. You are two people. He is one people. Especially if you have like Haven Veteran, right? If you have like, I don't think you need resil. I think you got ulted once and he said, I need resil. Oh my god, I got ulted. But like the ult was down, right? And you've been ulted once and you're also across the map from the support. Like sometimes if you don't buy resil, you become the best target for resil or for the CC. And like that's, you know, that makes sense why you'd buy resil. But like here, this game, I think it's Chronos, it's Master Ride, and it's Haven Vet. Because Master Riding lets you get rid of their Master Riding. Chronos you obviously need because you're a support with cooldowns. And Haven Vet just like helps you live this stuff, helps you ego it, right? Because right now the Andrew kills you in 4 shots. If you have Haven Veteran, he kills you in 5 shots. So that's an extra 0.5 seconds that you have to live. That's an extra, how much damage does a Victor do in 0.5 seconds? Like 600? 500? So like that's a lot of damage, right? So how much damage do you do in 0.5 seconds? Same thing. So like Haven Veteran, if you increase the number of shots this Victor needs to kill you by 0.5 seconds, you can do, you together with the Victor, do like 1,000 damage to him. Right? But now you get rid of that. So like you should probably still live, right? But it becomes a lot more scary. And like again, I don't think resil and nimble have actually done anything for you this game. It's like you can ego this guy with your Victor, and you can probably force him out a lot harder. You should know that he's below you though, or that he okay. Well, he left. Ash dashes to point for some reason. Okay, cool. You see them going in? Cool. I want to see you participate in this fight. I don't care how. I want to see you do something. I want to see this number go up. Not the damage. I want to see this number go up. So like, if you live for another 0.5 seconds. Okay, well the Vatu beefed. Or maybe you put the damage in, but you can see how Haven Bet would help you, and then for a knife early would help you. What I was gonna say was honestly gonna be to like TP over here, and get an angle there, but you need to take part more. If the Andrew does go for ult on you over there, then he's in full LS the Victor, and you just have to blow him up together. Maybe don't knife in necessarily, but like do something to take part. Don't like if your team is trying to win the fight, trying to hard commit like that, then like you need to do something. I don't know if I would have popped the ult when you didn't know what was going on, but it works out. Sort of wide peek in here. Careful. You see the Andro. You're staring at people when you heal them, so try to avoid that. Put some damage into the Andro. If you put some damage into him, maybe he's dead. Let's sped up. I don't think your ult was needed, but if you ult now, first of all, 2 tanks on point, or you can zone out their support, or you can try to help your Ashe kill this Andro. I don't know why he dropped. I guess it's not the end of the world. Your Victor's not under much pressure. He is now. Go back up. He somehow is not taking any damage. And the C9. Okay, cool. My brain's not big enough to remember everything I said, so notes will be below. But yeah, I think... Did you get a kill that game? Or did you get like the nice support stat line of like 06 and 40, you know? Like, was that what your stat line was like? I don't know. Yeah, so notes will be below, but I think you've got the hang of things. I think it's a very nitpicky VOD, it feels like. That's kind of just how Corvus is, but it seemed like you knew what you were trying to do, so that's good. Anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.